One question about not so good feeling movies is the whole, I was having a conversation with a friend about the notion of conspiracies, global conspiracies, kind of big conspiracies. His perspective is that he's unwilling to engage in thinking about anything that separates people. And I'm more of the who cares, I can't do anything about it. What's Abraham's take on a conspiracy or conspiracy theory?
Well, let's define conspiracy. A person who is in a mode of seeing what they believe is a conspiracy or feeling about it is of the mindset that the law of attraction has nothing to do with me and it has everything to do with everyone else, and therefore I am powerful in my experience, and there are a whole lot of people out to get me, and not only are they out to get me, they have the power to get me, and they're sneaky about it. They're pretending like they're not out to get me, but they're out to get me, and it defies every word you have ever heard from us in these gatherings.
Thank you.
Because also, really, we're teaching you how to conspire with your inner being. Do you really want conspiring to go away? We love the conspiracy of your inner being. Your inner being has a conspiracy. We all adore you and we care about what happens to you, and the conspiracy is so enormous that we never think a thought that is contrary to that. That's a whopping conspiracy. That's the conspiracy of well-being. That's a conspiracy of well-being, and it dominates this universe, this planet. It dominates every single person. But if somebody is watching a different movie, and the law of attraction will bring them, in other words, it's easy to make stuff up, and it's easy to gather all the bad stuff. We're not even saying they're making it up. We're just saying they're making a big pile of unwanted things, shining a spotlight on it, and when you look at it, you're going to lose your connection to source, and that's your problem. Whatever they're doing isn't your problem. Your inability to solve your problem about it is what your problem is. You're tuning into the problem instead of to the solution. Source energy conspiracy is all about solution. The other conspiracies are often about the problem. Play the game however you want.
Okay, thank you.
We want to say that through this conversation with you, almost every word we've uttered is new. It is co-creation at its best.
Sweet. Thank you.
We're down to the last minute, so let's just talk about what we talked about, and then we'll take a segment of refreshment. So what we would like to convey to you is you just got that. You understood it. This is a really good time for a segment of refreshment. Well, it really to know that there are some key things that we've been emphasizing. Satisfaction, and let's make that word even bigger. Satisfaction, which to some people means exaltation. Satisfaction could mean in God's graces. Satisfaction could mean fulfilling my life's purpose. Satisfaction can be a big old blossoming concept. Satisfaction, no matter how you're looking at it. I like what I'm licking right now. Satisfaction comes from only one place, and that's moving in the direction of a desire. Satisfaction doesn't come when you're moving away from it. So now we're back to what we were talking about earlier. Take some doing for some of you, because you've been trained by often well-meaning people who believed for themselves and for you that ultimate satisfaction, which is God's grace, comes from your sacrifice. You got to suffer and deprive. You gotta have shortage consciousness, believe that the blessings are few, so don't take too many for yourself. Believe that the pie is little, and don't be greedy and take too much of it for yourself. It's an epidemic among people, well-meaning and maybe not so well-meaning, who want to control your behavior by the thing that's the easiest to control it by. We talked about that at the beginning of the conversation. If people are oriented that way, then it's easier to get your attention. But once you find your true power, and once you find your true satisfaction, and once it becomes consistently within you, then the world looks more beautiful, and you appreciate the contrast that it is, and you don't need to control anybody, and then you have a better relationship with everybody. When people around you understand that you don't need anything from them that is different than what they're offering, that you are picking and choosing from them by your attention to what feels good to you. You're not choosing a piece of them. You're just not choosing some pieces of them. So they don't ever feel any rejection, because you're not saying, I don't choose this about you. You just don't choose it. So you don't get it.
Yeah, wow. It's just, I have 3 children, and the picture that I'm getting, because I see things in pictures, is my oldest when she was in college, and she called me up and she's sobbing, and I don't even have to go.
All right, now that's a movie. That's a movie, and it's easy to keep replaying that movie. But how does that movie feel?
Well,
get up and walk out of that movie.
Well, yeah, right. But what I'm saying is, so
we know what you're saying. Stop it.
The example before was that I sent her cards, spent that whole 2 weeks being out of my life, worrying about her. I called her up and I'm like, well, what's going on? She didn't even remember the event that I had been losing my life over for 2 weeks. That's an example.
It's so good.
And I was like, oh my God, I lost 2 weeks of my life and she doesn't even remember what.
Well, now that's a whole other movie. Stop that.
That's right. Oh my
Isn't
God.
it?
It's hysterical.
So you caught a
like,
little glimpse of her movie.
Yes.
She moved on and you took it to full production.
I was being a good mother, I thought, a good mom.
And because you suffered and sacrificed, and she doesn't even remember, now you're writing a sequel to the movie.
No, I keep track of it to bring
Not
up next
only did
time.
you cause me to unnecessarily suffer, I'm continuing to do it because I'm so mad that happened to me.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Oh my God. I could not believe that she could not even remember what it was. I mean, because I really suffered a lot over her sadness.
That may have been the very best experience of your whole life.
That one caught me a lot.
Because that says better than all the words that we've been saying here already today. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, right. And I'm supposed to get the lessons at the end. That's the whole idea.
So think about all that resentment that goes on. You made me feel this way. Well, you felt that way because that's what you were all queued up to feel. Nobody made you feel that way. And she didn't even mean to make you feel that way. That's just what you had queued up, so you easily made yourself feel that way. It can be complicated or it can be simple. You get to choose whether you make it complicated or whether you make it simple. And sometimes it has to be so absurdly complicated before you will allow it to be simple. That's a wonderful thing that happens. Sometimes the momentum of what you don't want just has to keep going and going and going until suddenly you're looking and you're thinking, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It started out here and now it's there. And then something about the absurdity of what you've allowed the momentum to come to causes you to launch an enormous rocket of desire, and then you sleep and you're in a more powerful place.
Yeah.
Really good. Enough? Really good.
Thank you. A few weeks ago, I was with my mom when she transitioned into non-physical, and it was pretty anticlimactic. I mean, I was sitting there for 3 days, actually finding myself getting impatient as, why is this taking so long? And I was able to come to an understanding of what I was given an opportunity to see through that. And that was pleasant but brief. And then she made her transition peacefully, calmly. Her breathing just slowed down and came to a stop. And I want to know how I can make the best and most.
Before you go further, we want to hear this important question that's within you. We want to touch on something that you said earlier about anticlimactic. In other words, do you want climatic? In other words, did you expect her to yodel down the canyon? Oh my God, there you all are. I'm so glad to see you. Or did you want her to scream in her fear of, did you want climatic?
Maybe a little pleasant climax would be a good thing. I mean, something.
But the thing that we want you to hear, and we know you've heard this from us before, the most perfect creation is when the next logical step just happens. The next logical step. Humans get such a big gap between what they want and where they are. You're creating the drama, meaning you're creating that climatic effect. It's not very good for you. Just let it be the next logical step. And that's what she experienced. She was ready. And so it was the next logical thing. And her inner being, who's running that show, is waiting for the perfect moment in time. And that's why it was not dramatic. I just want to point that out.
Thank you.
That it was a perfect next logical step of reemerging into that joyful, non-resistant place. Now, you can get some pretty good communication with her, but you got to be there too. You got to be in that practiced place of non-resistant thought.
Right, and that is my question.
We know.
How do I make the most and the best of having a dead mother?
By acknowledging that you don't have a dead mother. You have a very much alive mother. Dead mothers, that's a whole other expectation.
Right.
Decay. Bad smell. Well, you wanted climatic.
Yeah, I did, and I asked for it. Thank you.
Do you accept that her consciousness is alive?
Yes, of course.
And do you accept that she's still aware of you, very much aware of you?
I brought her along with me today because she never would have come to a workshop in the physical.
Well, she's taking issue with that. She's telling us you never invited her.
That's true. I didn't.
She's telling us that your expectation of where she was held her in a place that she didn't really mean to stay.
Good to know.
She's not blaming you for that. She just wants you to acknowledge that, yeah, she's tuned in, tapped in, turned on now. She just wants you to own your stuff and not blame it on her.
Fair enough. That's fair, and I will. Thank you.
That's sort of what she always said to you.
Yeah. In a different vein,
Yeah, we'd change the subject too if we were.